All right.
Episode 6.
Episode 6. That's that.
And that's that.
Right on time.
Well, we're back. We're in our new house. I guess it's just you and I today,
Just
Ritchie.
for today, Justin's a little under the weather, unfortunately.
Yes.
He's quarantining in his room, though he does not have COVID. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, we had a really busy week last week, and we all slowly started getting sick. Ritchie and Eric, though, unscathed currently.
Thankfully.
Yes.
Well, see, sometimes you get like this odd tickle, and you don't know if it's like in your head or something. You know what I mean? Especially when everyone's getting like sick around you, but I don't know.
I usually know.
We got to get our sleep. That's been our problem lately. Is us just bouncing around, not getting a lot of sleep. But
I know.
Get sleep, kids.
Get sleep.
Definitely. Definitely.
But so it's just the two of us back here. And we're at the new house. This is the new setup. Hopefully, I'm feeling pretty good.
Yeah, it's good. Good, nice sized living room. Planning to try to get some recording, some content done in this big open space. It's a little echoey, but yeah,
a little echo chamber in here.
I think it looks awesome here. Some good natural light.
Thinking and just knowing where we are right now in California, like who would have thought back in the day that
who would have thought
doing a podcast in California? If you said, back in 2009 or 10, a year into the band, someone's like, "Yeah, you guys are gonna be in California." What would you?
I wouldn't believe it. And I think this round, like we call this like phase 3. I think this is like more or less the round for us to be more like proud of, I guess you can say. Like in a way where when we first started off, we came down here, we were doing Airbnbs.
Yeah.
And then we went and we, bunked up over at Nick's place over there, like in the 2-bedroom, 3 of us. We still had our own space, but it wasn't the most ideal situations. Yeah. And then here, we got a little lease going on. So
got the lease. We're on paper. We're legit.
Yeah. So,
hopefully.
That's what we were always worried about too, is just not having anything to back it up when we first got here to get like that. Because it's expensive out here. But feeling good now. We're settled in.
Starting to accumulate some furniture, although
we don't need furniture. We don't need furniture.
Still on the air mattresses, but
we got electronic drum set right there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been a lot. We got down here in January. End of November now.
I can't believe we're almost getting to a year. Yeah, it would have been hard to believe, coming here and being like we're going to be living in California.
Yeah.
But
that's what's always been really cool about the band was we could always have these crazy ideas and then work hard, accumulate a little bit of fundage to the best you can, and then just try your best to make it happen.
And I think you're right. That was kind of one of the things we were always proud of, and not that we're not proud of it now, but we're just, times are different down here, but we were always proud of having the band fund. And I guess what we would do for the people at home, every time we would do a gig in the early days, it was pretty second nature to all be like, yo, we should be putting some of this back into the band. So we would split the gigs. There was 4 of us, and we would split the gigs 5 ways. The 5th being the band fund, and it would go into like a stash. We used to just keep it in cash for the longest time. Be sitting on like
it definitely got a lot thicker when we were living at our parents' places.
In the early days, the glory days.
That all changed. Then it got real.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like having that discipline, in some bands, whether they're working bands or it's almost like it's got to be like almost like a brotherhood relationship to understand that there's this bigger cause or something. Yeah. The band itself, the business itself, because, when you're playing with a bunch of like players that are just there to play, then it's like, it's got to be equal and, gas, and I get that too. That'd be awesome. Yeah. I feel like we were saying too, you're better off being like a hired gun in the Dreamboats right now
than being in the
Dreamboats. You'll reap more rewards.
Join the Dreamboats, make no money, and the adventures will be yours.
The adventures will be yours.
Or just do one-off gigs. Don't practice. Don't do anything. Yeah,
don't practice though, because that's how you get the real money.
But. Yeah, no, it's good being out here now, feeling good. But yeah, we're all we were very proud of the band fund, and that essentially enabled us to just do all the cool stuff. It would be like, yo, we want to go play at the Cavern, and like we were just like, oh, we got to save up for it. Like we might make money, but just in case, this is what it would cost us in full. Yeah,
And there's been like the investments in like we're with like the the PR companies, stuff like that, and trying to get into that game a little bit, or just having at least a little bit of flow to kind of like be like, I can dabble in this, I can dabble in the merch, I can dabble
and
in
never going out of
yeah.
pocket.
And never
like,
going out of pocket.
Went out of
yeah,
pocket.
It was always band fund. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's, I mean, yeah, the band fund is key.
Yeah.
Key to it. It is the lifeline.
That's what's keeping this roof above our heads. That, you know, we thankfully just grabbed a new trailer, which is really, really nice. We had some nice support when we can get it, and doing our best to kind of just bank cash, you know, and it's hard, you know. Like, we're only playing usually like a couple gigs a week, you know what I mean? And like, you know, we're living off the tips, and it gets tricky, but at the same time though, like after it's all said and done, and you know, whether we're at this, you know, we're at the first year of the business, you know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, it's like, we're here in California, we got a room, we're not eating hot dogs and craft dinner all day.
No, it doesn't fall into the caloric intake. But
I guess, just exactly.
But I know what you mean.
Yeah.
You know, it's good. It's nice that we have that and we can make all this happen. And, you know, also thanks to a lot of people who've helped, you know, support the band over the years.
We've had a couple key people that have definitely helped.
Let's talk about some Dreamboats. Let's talk about some Dreamboats days. The people at the early days, because we, you know, it's just you and I right now. We're the only ones with the recollection of the early days. What was a memorable early Dreamboats gig for you?
We were playing like a lot of them were like, you know, residency gigs too that we did, and those had their own glory. Every single night you played them,
yes,
in whatever capacity, to different experiences. You know, all the beautiful characters that we meet downtown Toronto, and how that scene was, the Dundas and Bathurst kind of thing. But I think one that really kind of stood out to me the most, where I think we kind of like try to define ourselves more or less at that point as like, we are an original band, and we've had our phases. But I think the Bovine Sex Club gig, I remember a shout out to Joel Martin. He put that one on. He used to put some good shows on in the area before he moved back to Ottawa. But I remember that being one. Remember we used to be all kind of suited up of that when we just went like white t-shirts, black pants.
Yeah, that was the first time we kind of didn't wear the suits.
The suits, yeah, the first
like
time we
ever.
So it just it stood out to me in that, and we played like the first time we played like "Don't Go Home" and like "Love Control." Mm-hmm. And
we adapted to that venue.
Yeah, we adapted to the venue the best we could.
Yeah,
the best we could.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, it was really, really cool. That's mine. What would you say is yours?
That's a really cool one. And just to finish on that, is that was always one of the cool things I liked about us, is that no matter what the gig is, we can kind of adapt within the like Dreamboats repertoire, but we can always kind of pick and choose what kind of, you know, show. If it's supposed to be like a hard rock show, we can do some hard rock bangers, you know, retro style, but you know what I mean? So yeah, that's why I really like that gig. We were like, oh, it's at the Bovine. This is like a punk, like metal, like rock and roll club, and we're going in there. We gotta be like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that was what I really liked about that gig.
Come with a little bit of edge.
Yeah, edge.
We're so edgy.
Yeah, we were edgy.
You know,
edgy.
Yeah, but what was your favorite?
It's tough to say, but it's in a similar thing. This is the only one I can think of right now. But I would have to say the gig was Low Key Fest.
Oh my gosh.
Low Key Fest. And the headliner for the day, was Colorado. And Farrell was running the event.
What's up, Farrell?
Big shout out to Farrell. So that was the first gig. I always saw the Dreamboats as like a band that did covers but could still be on original band bills, like the Sha-Na-Na to Woodstock. I always say it. But you know what I mean? Like, we could just be the black sheep of any kind of show, do covers, and still like fit into any festival. And Low Key Fest was like just my idea of that coming true. I was like, oh, Colorado's on there, and you got the Dreamboats on there.
Yeah.
And that was just like kind of my way in, even though nothing really was crazy. And we were on like first, like early in the day.
What slot did he play? Second? Had a good day though.
Happy Gilmore. What did he come in? Dead last? Had a good day though.
I just talking. No, that was an awesome show. I remember it being a decent crowd. I remember that day. Unfortunately, though, there was a little bit of weather issues going on. With that. Remember that?
Yeah.
That was a little bit of a shame. But I remember we were hanging in that kind of like roofed area in Colorado was playing. It was just getting crazy, getting hype. It was like in the front. It was very intimate. It was awesome.
It was cool.
And like those like glow balls, like almost like beach glow balls, were just flying. And they couldn't go anywhere because they were under a roof.
Yeah.
So you had to like watch out because these balls like flying.
Yeah, they're pinging us in the head. Poor Mickey B.
Yeah, Mickey B got like on his head.
But you know what? Actually, while I was saying that, I was thinking, you know what gigs I really used to like? I used to like the early Finn McCool's days.
Of course.
Like, it was like, what Finns are we playing this week? You know what I mean? We played Brampton. We played Britannia, Guelph. We even played Ajax at time.
And to any of our American friends, Finn McCool's is like a Irish bar, like franchise chain.
That has live music.
That has live
music. Which is cool.
Yes.
So, I mean, we got all those gigs. Do you remember how we got all those?
Because we played at the Brampton location, and all of like the owners of like all the Finn McCools were having like a dinner that night.
Yeah.
And they were all there. We were playing, and they were all there and they were watching, and they really dug us.
Yeah.
So it just kind of, and then it was easy to approach every single one of them. Then I asked like the manager, I was like, Jen, I think her name was. And I was like,
Jen, yeah.
And I was just like, who was here? And she's like, this manager, Ajax, Guelph, and that's how we just ended up scooping up all those gigs.
And then you remember, so we got all those gigs, but then we had that one day at our old rehearsal space. You remember we went to the Finn McCool's website and we looked up, there was Finns all over the country. Remember we even wanted to do a Finn McCool's tour for a bit there. That would have been nuts, man. It would have been a lot of air dingers.
Yeah, seriously.
But yeah, man, do you remember? So we looked up a list of all the ones in our kind of radius, and then we literally... You called, you'd be like, hey, we're the Dreamboats, blah, blah, blah. We got recommended by so-and-so. We'd get like the email. Then immediately you'd hang up. I'd follow up with the email immediately.
Yeah.
Do you remember? We just went through the list. Boom, boom, boom. We got so many out of those.
I remember that. That was like at our rehearsal space.
That one day of work, we harvested so many gigs out of it by that one day. And in my mind, I reference that moment or that day often, like being like, yo, all we need is one hard day of work, where we just hammer it out there and like something always good happens.
And the rest of the days we'll just coast, right?
Yeah. Of course. Of course. Yeah, the rest of the days we're hitting the gym, gymnasium.
No, it's been a while for me at the gym, actually. I've been slacking a couple weeks since we moved.
We all have.
Yeah, I'm just doing some home workouts.
Slacking.
Yeah, shit.
I'm just kidding. But
I'm just joking. No, we tend to sneak in some exercise. You and Eric. I see Eric over there sweating it out.
If you were starting the Dreamboats this year, okay, what would you do differently? I would never start in the first place. This curse. No, I'm just kidding.
Across the bar.
Yeah, what would you do differently? Or what's the first thing you would do? You're starting the Dreamboats tomorrow. What are you doing? How are you getting out there? How are you doing all that?
Thankfully, because of you, we had a good online game. You know what I mean? Like, I think online is definitely important, of course. I do my best to get in there once in a while and make an appearance. But having a good like online game, I think really utilizing like your targeted ads kind of like thing and just kind of getting out there, making your presence that way. You know what I mean? It has like, you can put a lot of money into like PR to get exposure and yada yada. But you know what? Sometimes you can think, going the road of like just being on people's like radar would that have like common interest to what you are and stuff, and have it kind of show up, and seeing how that worked in Spain and we came to touring and stuff like that. Definitely having that kind of thing going on. But if I was to start the band right now personally, I think I would have tried to be like more, really focus more on like movement and choreography in the beginning, as opposed to like how we kind of like started it like kind of years later. And I've always like been able to kind of like dance to some degree, like, breaking, but I always just feel like now when I do it, I feel like it's more like it's okay to do it. You know what I mean?
It should have been in the show.
I never felt like
ago.
it should have been in the show like a long time. Just getting nuts with it and having like a moment to do something. Not to say it was like off brand, but at the end of the day, dancing is dancing. People dig it. So if I was to do it now, I think I'd been more focused on like dancing choreography and making like a great stage show, a show-stopping like stage show.
As
quickly
from
as
the
possible.
get-go. Nice.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It gets a little difficult playing with a lot of different players because you just want to make sure. Actually, not necessarily. I guess the show is the show. I guess it just takes more preparation on our end. But
But if you were starting it, I guess even just on the whole like band thing, would you be trying to take it in like a theater direction, or like would you want to be a club band, or would you want to be doing like the Coachellas? Like, because I know we've fallen into certain paths with this band currently, but if you could do it all over again, how would you kind of spin the band?
Well, I think I really want to go deep, because that's the thing. I felt like when I first started the band with you, we had Brian and I had the Morning Thieves where I played the drums.
We were all in different bands.
They were all in different drums. We had bands at the time, and I was playing primarily more like the drums. I was like a drummer at the time. I just did the Dreamboats just as for fun, because I loved singing and playing guitar for fun. But I guess you can say, if I was to change anything, I think I just try to be the best like performer at the moment, you know what I mean, and really incorporate like all my skills that I had, and not like shelf anything, like really do my best to like bring it to the stage, and like it's something I want everyone, like I'd love everyone to do, encourage, you know what I mean, get the magic show or the blackout, the table in the middle of the stage,
like drums turn into a lion.
Your
sleight of hand,
just like get some. We actually do some online stuff with you, doing like some like magic tricks or something like that.
Make you levitate?
Superior, yeah. And so I'm like,
make my wallet levitate.
I'll
moths coming out.
Exactly. Yeah, I guess that's my answer to that.
Cool.
I guess you can say.
Cool. Nice.
What would you say?
I feel like I would take it more from. I feel like I'd want to hit the road immediately. You know what I mean? If I was starting over, I'd be like, yo, we're doing this. We're going to do originals in the style, and a curated set of covers that kind of fit something a little edgier. Yeah. And I would do that, like very like cavern era Beatles. You know what I mean? Like with a bit of an edge to it. Yeah. And
no, you're right. I'm gonna.
And I would hit the road immediately and start
I was
touring.
Gonna say that point, like it did space out for a second there, where what's it called, being in that, like, having that side thing and then playing covers. I would have really, like, I felt like at the time there was like a lot of original being tried to supplement. I should have like tried to be more, doing songs and writing off the bat. Remember like how we first started at like the Elvis Tuesday or whatnot.
The Elvis Mondays,
like, kind of like, or Monday or something, to kind of get us writing and stuff like that, and digging out some old songs. Not to interrupt you.
Those were good times too.
To try to answer your question, to try to focus a lot on original music at the time too.
Yeah.
When we started, or like now more.
Yeah, totally. That's what I feel like I would change
like
if I was starting the band over.
An edge, like the rock with the edge.
Like you just go in there and just like tear it up, high energy and stuff. Obviously dance moves and stuff, but yeah, like just the music has just got a certain sound to it, Yeah. And because, we were always just kind of doing pop stuff, Calendar Girl and this and that. But I'm just saying, if I could start it now, what I think would kind of work well and like for a live show. Yeah. Right off the bat is, having some originals, a bit of an edge, doing some curated cool covers in there, retro, even some A-list, for sure. Yeah. And then hitting the road, touring and being like that kind of band.
See, the thing is that when it comes to touring,
like clubs
right now, it's just, it's such a building and grinding thing too, right? Like, and I feel like, for instance, like for us, how did we make money to go tour? Yeah. How do we make money doing anything? A lot of private event kind of stuff, and then, and having a couple cycles of that, and trying to like build up an audience in whatever demographics or areas you're playing in. Yeah. But now it's like hard, because I feel like we're like more situated and like, and like, but like totally. I wish though, like in the beginning, even on the youth end of it, you know what I'm saying, that we should have just been freaking on the road like all the time.
I know, man.
You know what I mean?
All the time.
All the time.
It was always a struggle. But not a struggle, but it's hard to justify touring to everyone. Mind you, in the early days, people had jobs and stuff. Yeah. So it was hard for people to take that time off. But at the end of the day, it's like, Imagine we had gone all in on the Dreamboats like 5 years earlier. Yeah. That would have been like the best time to tour. You know?
Definitely.
And everyone just like quit the jobs and we're like, yo, we're doing this. That would have been
cool. You don't think, like, it just comes to a point where that's the thing.
Didn't see that full potential.
Didn't see it full. But we just had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like we were just having a blast.
And we used the band as an excuse to do all the stuff we wanted to do, like the shameless stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like the Dreamboats has been like so many, awesome things over like the 13 years that we've had.
I know.
I'm just getting like almost this like, thing where we look back to how it was and how we were at that age.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Playing and like the way we looked at gigs and how we played gigs, how we approached practice, how we approached like the culture. And
even just how we dealt with certain situations. Like I remember at our last show in Toronto, our original members, Roberto and Mike, came to the show, and we were talking about Cornerstones, a bar we played in Scarborough. And you remember and Mike remembered this too, because I had this recorded somewhere. Like we were getting like the same pay all the time, and then Mike was just like, I'm gonna go in there with Chris and we gotta get some more money. And it was just funny because he went in there and it was like we sent in like the muscle. Not that you weren't handling it like in that way. It was just like Mike just wanted to go in there. And I think you were trying to talk to the guy. Mike just shows up. Like it looked like we were sending in this tough guy to collect. And then the guy was just like, I'll get you some more.
Good. I think he did that also Finn McCool's too.
Yeah, sometimes Mike would step in and
what was good. It was good to get. There's almost like this good cop, bad cop kind of thing going on, which was nice. You know what I mean? Like, but thankfully he never got to a point where I felt that like he disrespect like the connection. You know what I mean? Like he'd only do that when it was obvious. Like, yo, you got to start paying us some more. This place is growing every single time.
Yeah, exactly.
So like,
as soon as you feel money, like you're being taken advantage of a little bit, and then you're just like, yo, we need some more money.
That's where that like, see, I try to be more of like a diplomatic approach. You know what I mean? But
you have a good sense of when you feel like we should get more money.
I definitely don't shy away from like, marking the line, and especially in a business sense too. You know what I mean? I think that's just communication is everything, and you don't have to be assertive. Just like you got to talk about it. You got to state your case, and if it makes sense, it makes sense. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And you take it from there.
And that's where the leverage comes in. If you be like, yo, okay, well, if not, I'm like, we won't be able to play here anymore.
Exactly.
And I remember that too. I'm not going to say the name of the venue, but I remember purposely when we started upping the rate in the early days, I wanted to throw out the number 700 for like the bars.
Yeah.
This was like 10 years ago. And I would be like, it's got to be 700. We can't make it work. We started drawing lines in the sand on stuff.
Yeah.
And I remember finally you just got it.
Credit?
No.
Oh, yeah.
Anyways.
700. We got him up to that?
Yeah.
Yeah, we should. Yeah, that place was always bumping.
I know.
That place was always packed.
So you got to have
with like a cover charge or something.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like
it wasn't cheap.
No, and it wasn't cheap.
We had some good nights at a lot of bars.
That's why. That's like those experiences like kind of make you like learn from it too. It's like when people are asking you like that's why when people ask you, hey, what's your rate? It's just like there's a lot of factors.
Oh yeah.
Are we setting up sound? Are you selling tickets?
Do we have to promote this thing?
Like there's like it's a private. Yeah, exactly. It's so many different things. Like so. But with that one, exactly, I feel like you just get all the above, man.
Yeah.
Tickets sold.
Oh yeah.
Everything. Yeah.
Just
Exactly.
reaping the benefit.
Yeah.
But you know what? At the end of the day,
you learn from those mistakes. You play some good shows. You state your case, and in most cases, if they want to continue, if the proof is in the pudding, they're going to want to continue like playing, doing business with you.
And that was cool. And I miss those days of playing in the bars, and like you see the certain people are like, oh, we're playing at, the Eaton House or whatever. And then you get that whole crew that kind of comes out. And then you're like, oh, we're playing Cucullins in Streetsville. And then you're getting all that kind of crew. And then Rockin' Docks and Port Credit. Yeah. So we had these little Abbey Road.
Yeah, Abbey Road.
That was fun. Like we had some epic nights at Abbey Road Pub in Erin Mills.
Great experiences.
So all those early venues, like I love those places.
Yeah, those are crazy.
Those are good times.
How did we used to do we used to here I when we do sound check, it takes like an hour and a half. Like how did we used to do sound check?
We used to roll into those gigs. Do you remember especially Abbey Road Pub? I remember once we were running late.
Tucking in my shirt.
Just finishing up food, a shawarma or something.
Yeah,
but Abbey Road, I remember we literally one show, we showed up 15 minutes before the set. And Brian was just turned on the thing and he was just like, yeah, we're good. We went out, just a little vocal warm up.
Yeah.
Throw on the jackets and we were ready to go 15 minutes.
We got to start doing every gig like that, man. Just
15 minute setup.
Just get the vocals in there and call it a day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Especially for doing the odd bar.
And that's what I like about that setup too. Is just it feels more like a rock show.
Yeah.
Coming right from the
Hammer it out.
It's all directional.
No, like just stripped down. No funny business.
Yeah.
Just a drum
getting
kit.
everything to the mains is a difference, but at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, we never used to do. I never used to mic my amp.
Those were good times, man. And they were also good because when we would do the 3 sets, it was like you have all the fun of in between the sets. You know what I mean? It's like set 1's done, and then you're just saying hey to people, and like people are coming in. Maybe someone buys you a drink or blah, blah, blah. Then your second set, it's like warmed up.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? Everyone starts dancing.
Third set, they're you know.
Then third set, but between second and third set, you're just like everyone's talking, or you got to get some refuge outside. But I always like, you know, chatting and stuff, and then it's on for the third set.
Yeah.
And you just close the night down.
Oh man, I remember. Oh jeez, I can't believe it's amazing how long ago that was.
I know.
You know, like, jeez.
Even after the gigs, like you go on this high, you're doing 3 sets, so you're working like all night, and then when it's done, you're just like just tearing it all down. It's all quiet, talking to like the staff and stuff. You know, you load out. Sometimes those like snowy like nights. You know, you're loading out the gear, and we're just like.
Remember that time we drove all the way up to Orangeville like Finns in like a bloody snowstorm, and then like we show up and the guy's like, what are you doing here?
You guys made it. Just like, we just like traveled through like hell. It was just whiteout conditions. You remember we were literally going up. There were sections of the highway up to Orangeville with no power.
They blame the high elevation of Orangeville why it is always snowing every time we hit a goddamn snowstorm.
That was so funny. Did we even play that night? We showed up. The guy was
that was like we played to the bartender and like 3 patrons, but. Definitely Nagy was in the house. Stephen Nagy was swagged out.
Yeah, Productions. Swagged out Productions.
Let's chat about quickly, like maybe a little bit of a timeline to this moment or something. I guess you can say.
Okay.
I think like what would you say is like the first kind of experience right off the bat that you think that like, you know, this we were in a band and we were playing like a show, or we thought there was like a potential kind of thing. I think mine. Let me start with this one. Is Enfield Fox. Remember we did that open mic?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's right. I remember that.
Yeah. And there's an edit. Yes. And like, I think, and it was
like a video?
It was like almost like Eric Stahl like recording at the time.
I got to find that video, man.
Yeah.
I'm going to find that video.
Yeah. That was heavy duty. That was the first one we kind of, we rocked the place up.
We brought in the kick drum. You remember? It was just kick, snare, and like ride or hi-hat.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. We tore that place up.
Yeah. And then, and that was like, and then Dale started doing the open mic on Tuesday with Justin Roca, and it was over from there, man.
Yeah.
Like we used to play there like all the time.
Yeah,
you know?
that was cool.
Yeah. So sorry, go on. What would you say?
No, that was awesome. That was definitely a pivotal.
What would you say?
I forgot about that moment.
So like, let's say like those were like the open mics. What were like the open mics that we did?
Open mics, the early one. Well, we did Cucullins.
Shout out to Matt Zaddy.
Marcello's.
The Prince of Mississauga.
The first ones were Marcello's.
Yeah, Marcello's. Marcello's, yeah.
Yeah.
Marcello open mics? Yeah, we used to host the Marcello open mics too.
And Joel did some open mics as well that we played. But yeah, Marcello's, those were some good nights. Literally waiting around all night. Justin would have been bartending there. I remember he was bartending a few nights. That's a fun fact.
That's funny, man.
And he was there for probably the first couple like things.
Yeah.
But yeah, those nights were fun. You'd just be waiting around all night, hoping like the host would give you like the prime slot. We're just like it's filling up, and we just do like 2 songs or 3 songs, you know, and if we get like the dance party going.
Yeah.
And then I go to Metalworks the next day, and I'd be like, we like ripped it up.
Nice.
You know?
And some people were
of course, that was fun. Nice. The Marcello days. But I would say that the first show that I felt that there was potential, kid you not, was like the first club show we played at Rancho Relaxo. I honestly like playing that show. I remember that was like we got the vests, we got the spinning starlight lamp, and I remember we got the whole thing like filmed.
Yeah.
And that was awesome. You know what I mean? And I remember there being like, this is cool. Like no band is doing the matching thing. No one's playing these cover songs. And I remember getting so excited. I'm like, and because I love those songs, just this is a good band. We got to do more of these.
Yeah.
You know?
That was such a great night.
Epic night. If I go back in a time machine, just that night, you know, just that'd be so cool.
I definitely would have got a different haircut. That's for sure. Holy shit balls.
Yeah. It definitely would have put a spotlight on the back there. I'm just in the shadows.
Look at that, man. That was straight emoed out. What's it called?
Nice.
I don't know. Then we got a gig at McCool's from Brian Fontes. I remember our first gig. I remember our first gig as a 4-piece band, paid 3 sets. Never sang 3 sets my whole freaking life. Couldn't even like talk the next day. Brian Fontes, I hooked that gig up. I remember we got $250 for the first gig.
$250. Oh yeah, that was a little introductory.
$250.
Great.
And then I think we eventually got like $350, and then like 4 or something like that.
And then eventually.
Yeah.
More.
Yeah, kind of grew from there. But yeah, that's what broke it in from there.
Yeah,
and I remember actually getting that, and then we played at M Studio as well.
Yeah.
Shout out to Angel on that one. What's it called? M Studio, and that was like near Myerside.
But you're right, that first Finn McCool's in Brampton was definitely our first kind of bar gigs, like where we're steady.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. There were some good nights there. There was also some, like, we were really building the fan base at that time. Remember, like, we got people that would come out.
Yeah.
But I always remember I used to love our old website, just inputting dates. Remember, we'd lock in, like, I remember you'd be like, yo, we got Finn's Guelph. We got 4 dates. You'd send me the dates. I'm like, yeah, I get them on the website. And then you're like, yo, and then Britannia came in and gave us these dates. And I'm like, filling. Remember, we just had this long epic list.
Yeah,
we'd even put the private dates in there. It just looked like we were just busy all unavailable. Thinking of booking us? Unavailable.
I'm just joking. No. As we were so happy with like getting a lot of those like corporate bookings and stuff like that because of those bar gigs.
What was the first big pressure?
It was all about just trying to show clout in whatever capacity you could at the time. The perception or whatever of like in a sale of just being like, whoa, these guys are like unavailable and they're doing something right, and we really did our best to try to show that we had that right off the bat, that we meant business. You know?
What would you say? Totally. What would you say was the first pressure, like corporate or private gig, where you're just like, yo, this is like real?
I think we played like OLG or something like that. Remember, we had to travel 3 hours to that one. That was like,
yeah.
And Mike punched Roberto in the back of the head while he was driving.
Oh my God.
Remember that?
I do remember that.
Oh my gosh, man.
Yeah. Mike punched Roberto.
Yeah.
Clocked him in the back of the head
while he was driving.
I can't laugh right now. I gotta take a
you see this episode, we're just laugh about it, boys.
Oh my God.
Oh my gosh.
Good old days.
Good old days, man. We're all scrappy.
Yeah, man. Yeah, getting into a few
Mike
tussles.
and I, we almost wrung each other's necks a couple times. Roberto too. Jeez, man, Roberto.
Man.
But we're all,
I forgot about that gig.
all love. You know.
Forgot about that gig.
How's he doing?
How is he?
How's Justin doing?
Justin's in the room, but he's got headphones on. He's been sick, poor guy in bed.
He's got a thermometer in his mouth, and he's got the earmuffs on right now. He's got
just
quilted blanket.
Get well soon, man.
Good night, buddy.
Night. But those gigs.
And then what would you say is like a progression after that? I guess we were just getting like, then we started getting more into like weddings.
Yeah, we used to work with like RJM and stuff, and we started getting like some weddings. I remember always feeling pressure on weddings.
That's like someone's big day. You don't want to.
Yeah. And I think it's good that we get nervous, even to this day.
On that. Yeah, for
like
sure.
Doing weddings, I'm like, there's a pressure that comes with doing weddings.
And like, it came to a point where it's like, you know what, you just can't be like, can you play for? I'm like, no, we gotta charge for the first song.
Oh yeah, the first song. I know we have to. It was like we used to be like, cool, we'll do it.
Because you have to put a rehearsal into that.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean?
You don't want to botch that up. There's always that pressure too of just gear. Like wedding is a lot of pressure, you know. But we do them. And we're grateful for them, but they're someone's special day.
They pay well, and like that, they fund the tours. They fund whatever.
But a wedding is a long day. It's like we're there all day. It's usually like get to the hall at like 12 or 1.
You're in that block. Especially you have to you can't start loading out when everyone's like there too. So you have to wait till the end of the night.
Unless you're the Dreamboats. We dance our way with the gear.
Keep it classy.
Just handing you
Johnny on top of the bass drum. He's like, he's like everyone, like all 3 of us trying to out the exit
that way.
At the exit.
Oh man, God. We dance our way out of weddings.
So I take your snare drum and I take your hi hats and you start marching on the. Bring your snare drum.
Oh my god.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, the good old days. But the weddings, and then I remember. Yeah, even some of those big corporate ones, you know, the big corporate gigs are almost intimidating because you never know what the crowd's going to be like, and especially if people are on business trips and they're traveling without their significant others, like no one's dancing really. You know what I mean? If they're on a conference or something, and sometimes you're getting like big bucks and you're just like, no one's dancing.
Yeah, and it's not your fault.
And it's not your fault. It's just people are there for like a certain reason.
You got to put. I think in those situations, I think that's what was really cool about when we did it in the beginning too, and why it's so important to have like chemistry, I think, as a band, is because we were able to get away with like almost like doing it as a show. You know what I mean? Like, and when we were at the corporate thing, and I never felt like we did a bad show, and I never took it as like because people weren't on the dance floor that it was like the thing, because people would come up to us after and be like, "Yo, that was awesome," and like it's like, it's true. It's like, when you play these corporate shows or whatever, they're not getting hammered at the. They're not that guy. They're not that person at the party, and unless they're like just like off the rocker, you know what I mean. They're the ones that are getting up on the dance floor and like getting it started, and I love that. You know what I mean. But like, there's not really much, you know, characters like that, and like not many characters in like that type of situation. You know what I mean?
Totally. And if they're there for a whole weekend conference, it's like just people are there for like, you know, work and stuff. But But yeah, those are cool. But yeah, there's always that little bit of like, you know, thinking like, yo, what are they expecting of us? Do we got to get a dance floor going right now? And sometimes if people aren't dancing, I feel like we switch to show mode. We're like, okay, people aren't dancing, but they're digging it. Yeah, exactly. We start telling some stories.
My freaking point. Exactly. Telling stories, like just like being able to kind of banter back and forth between your bandmates and like talking crap. You know what I mean? You know
what show I'm going to talk about? I think the first show where we ever became a theater band, we got forced into it. It was Bayfield. Bayfield Town Hall. We got to the gig because we were booking so many gigs those days that sometimes we get to gigs and we would forget like what the gig is all about. So we got to Bayfield. We thought it was a fundraiser, and it was. But as soon as we got there, do you remember? We looked at all the seating set up in the town hall, and it was just facing us, and there was no dance floor. And we're just like, yo, we got to put on a show right now. Do you remember that? Oh, yeah. Walking in there and being like, yo, there's no room for a dance floor. I thought there was going to be like circular tables, like a fundraiser. Yeah. We get there, it's like the Dreamboats like on the sign. I'm like, yo, people are here to see. It's like soft seat style. Yeah. And you know what's crazy? Is that we killed it that night. Yeah. Do you remember that? We were just bantering, just flying off the seat of our pants, joking around. We had people laughing. It was great, man. And I remember being like, yo, we could hold this down. Yeah.
I love those kind of spontaneous type of like situations that you're not really kind of in owning it, you know what I mean, and doing your best to kind of in those situations, just like kind of like a confidence booster. Totally. And also like it helps gear you towards like working like a stage dynamic and how to address yourself, and that's what's really cool, is having that ability to know that like in this club show you're like this, in this theater show you're this, and this, you know, and that just comes with like a lot of experience in like different scenarios and playing, and they're all cool skills to have. Like obviously playing in a bar, it's like objective, keep the dance floor going, so you got to be song after song after song. Then doing like the corporate event, it's a similar thing actually, but you got to be doing an A-list, you know what I mean? People want to hear cream of the crop. As soon as you finish playing a song at a theater, it just goes silent. Like you have to have something prepared to say. You know what I mean? Definitely. And I remember that Bayfield Town Hall, it was like anytime we finished a song, we're just like, what song's next, kind of there, but we played into that a bit, you know what I mean? And everyone can hear every word you're saying. You're right. They can hear everything, and exactly, you played into it a bit. And but that was exactly, that was one of our first kind of theater, you know, ish experiences. You know, that was a memorable one. Yeah, definitely. And then we had a some good run of like, you know, festival styles from like from the Rip Fests and like the Mississauga waterfront festivals and stuff. And I remember one really. I remember we were close to doing like, you know, we did we sold out the RBC Center 3 back to back. They gave us the 1. Yeah. Then we sold it. They gave us the 2, and then they gave us the 3. So, and that was like during a time, the period where like the Dreamboats were kind of like making a good name for themselves in the area. Yeah, totally. And playing like, to me, like even the waterfront festival and getting the ability to do that. Yeah. From the city. Oh, that was great. I remember one of the most flattering moments, like what's it called, when Mike made an awesome comment, because Mike Douglas over at the Mississauga Arts Council. Mike. Shout out to Mike Douglas. He's always been a cool dude. to us, you know what I mean? And a guide, and I can always just get him on the phone. We can always just shoot the shit for like an hour, like no problem. You know what I mean? It's just, and he's always positive, getting the you know, the ideas out, and like ways that we can incorporate this band with getting affiliated with them. You know, he's really, really cool. And as that advice, I remember that day he said that, in the pride of Mississauga, the Dreamboats. I almost had a freaking man tear shed down.
Oh my god! At the Waterfront Festival.
At the Waterfront Festival. Yeah, that was cool. From
pride of Mississauga.
Yeah, that's a nice coming from him. That meant a lot. You know what I mean? And I thought to myself at the moment, okay, we're doing some cool things. And I remember Chuck Jackson. You know, he does like, you know, similar like retro style kind of stuff to us, and he doesn't really know me, or didn't really know him too much at the time, but I was seeing him play beforehand, and he just really owns the stage. You can just tell, like, I just know when people like are just present on stage, like it's just the back of their freaking hand, and it's like, I'm so envious of that. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I can still be a self-conscious person babbling, even on podcasts.
I hear you.
And on stage, and you get some characters like Robbie Lane, just like, man, like, okay,
second nature.
Second nature.
You do no wrong. You say whatever you want, and it doesn't matter.
Yeah, and you can tell there's some people on stage that just have that like ability.
The gift of gab.
Yeah, the gift of gab, man. And Chuck did that. That was cool. And just that was definitely a great day, kind of thing.
I want to play Celebration Square.
We will get there. I will ask him, and I
just want to do a free concert for the people in Mississauga. Like, just free. I don't need any money. I just want to make it like just publicized on the thing so that people can come. Just grass, whatever. Like seating style grass, not like, and you just play to them. I think it'd be so much fun. We have so many friends come out and families. It'd be great. Yeah, that'd be really cool. Let's see if we can talk to somebody and make it happen. Make it happen.
But hope you guys enjoyed a lot of our early experiences in Mississauga, and big shout out to everyone that we mentioned. We love you, and you're a part of our journey, and it's been awesome ever since.
Yes,
good times and bad times. Yes. But we're liking where we are right now, and it's off those experiences that you have all given us. So yeah.
And with that, that's that.
Oh, we had a problem. I mean, we tried to do everything we could.